lot of people talk about the importance of having good people in your life, good influences, people that make you better. And while I, of course, agree with this, I feel like it's a little bit outdated, because what I've come to realize is you are what you consume. So I have good people around me, but we're all at kind of the same level. And a lot of the self-development and things that I've learned and been able to do was actually from the things I was consuming on my phone. And the concept of you are what you consume, in my eyes, because this is kind of a thing I made up, is consuming can mean anything. It's really just whatever you spend the most time on. But for me, driving to work, or back when I was door dashing or anything like that, that was always my time to listen to podcasts, listen to YouTube videos that were teaching me things, or if I had downtime, that's what I was trying to do. And it shaped me so much more than I realized. And of course, like I said, I don't want to discredit my friends or anything, because they teach me stuff all the time, but we're all kind of the same age, at the same level, hustling together. So it's more of a motivational thing of all of us grinding, and we teach each other things here and there, but none of us really know any better than the other, because we're all kind of at the same level, right? And while I think that is incredibly valuable in and of itself, I think a lot of growth can occur when you change what you're listening to and consuming. And I kind of had this unlock, because I realized, I would look at what other people were doing on their phone, or watching, or listening to, or whatever. And I started to notice the correlation based on kind of the things other people were doing. And it really is, it can shape you for better or worse. And if it's just a lot of crap all the time, that's kind of just all that's going to be in your head. But even if you aren't a person that is super entrepreneurial or self-development, whatever, it's just like whatever you're putting in your head all the time, if you think about it in the car, you're just honestly like programming your brain for what you're going to be thinking about all the time. And if it's kind of doom scrolling news things or anything like that, it can really take a toll for sure. And what I've noticed is, the more I consume business content, self-development content, even fitness content, my life just naturally goes in that direction, and my brain is always throwing around these ideas. So you have the ability to control it, and that's why I'm somewhat not against, but I don't really love the short form platforms, because you don't have a choice on what you consume. And yes, you can tailor the algorithm based on how long you watch things, whatever, but that's why I really only stick to YouTube. I don't really use anything else. And I do post on Instagram, I post reels or whatever, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan of those, just for that reason specifically. I feel like I'm letting somebody else decide what is in my brain and what I am going to focus on, which I just kind of disagree with that whole concept. I don't like it, for myself at least. But it really has a huge impact. And I notice even recently I've been listening to a lot more fitness content. I just have randomly been more interested in it. And I've noticed myself upping the workouts and going more often, taking it more seriously. And I was taking it pretty seriously before, but now I'm on the level where I'm hitting, certain muscle groups that recover faster multiple times a week, as opposed to I was going 4 days a week as hard as I could and eating very well before then. But now I'm really optimizing everything. And it's just because that was what was in my head the whole time. So you have the control over that. And if you want to change, I would say the easiest thing is to do that. Find somebody that you like, listen to all their stuff, and it'll bounce around in your brain without you even really needing to change anything. You'll just naturally start changing. And you also want to be careful, of course, for obvious reasons, because if you have the wrong person that you're listening to, they're just putting bullshit in your head. Which is why I also make videos that are about like thinking for yourself and things like that, because that's obviously very important. But I see it as, if you're going to listen to someone overly extreme, maybe you kind of lean that way because of the person you're listening to. But I see that as better than just not having anything at all that's good and developing your life. If it's just straight entertainment all the time, it's probably not the best. But even if it is entertainment for you and you're just listening to things that are about, they have that whole thing about like motivational stuff is bad and whatever. And yes, I don't think a lot of that stuff really helps, but it's better than listening to some other entertainment crap for no reason, I guess. I don't know. But that's just the way I see it. And yeah, so the easiest way, do that. And I think that's more fitting for this day and age rather than talking to people, because let's be honest, we're probably on our phones more than we're even interacting with people a lot of the time, which is crazy. But if that's the case, then you might as well tailor it to what you want, especially if, a lot of people talk about, I don't have a good, my family isn't this way, or my friends, I can't find friends that are like this. But the easiest thing, you don't really need it, in my opinion. I have not ever felt a need to care as much about that, because I'm getting what I need in terms of new info and motivation and all of that would come with a friend group, in through YouTube or through whatever, and it really works well. And in terms of friends also, I always thought that was insane. Like, people just say find more successful friends or whatever. And first of all, I don't know. I have a whole thing. I think it's dumb, but that's not really necessarily what my friends are for me. But I like having like-minded people, but I don't need everyone to be massively successful and I'm not, because it's just like, it just makes no sense. It's like, you're not really just going to be friends with those people, especially if you're at the bottom grinding up. And also, what if I like my friends, and people would say that's the trade-off you make. And, I guess that's fine. I personally don't think it's necessary, but I guess we'll find out in the end. And so far, everything's been fine. So we'll see.